Hey everybody, so we're about a month into the season, not exactly, November 3rd will be exactly a month, but we're close enough. So let's take a look at where the standings what the standings look like right now. 1 month into it, most teams have played a little over 10 games. Um, so the standings right now are certainly a lot different than what I would have expected at the beginning of the year, but you've got to remember teams have played different numbers of games right now. Some teams have played as many as 12. Other teams have only played 9 or 10. So that certainly has an effect on it. But it's interesting because the first 10 games of the year often is kind of a microcosm for the entire season. That's kind of the first benchmark because many of the teams in a playoff spot after 10 games are in a playoff spot come the end of the year. So it'll be interesting to see which of these teams remain playoff teams and which of these teams end up getting bounced out by the end of the season. Because they've only played, 10, 11, 12 games now. By the end of the season, everyone will have played 82. There's still a long way to go. But still, it's meant, there's definitely be some changes by the end of the year as far as who's in and who's out playoff-wise. But the first 10 games tend to be kind of, pretty accurate. I would say probably two-thirds of the teams in the playoffs now are probably going to still be in a playoff spot come the end of the season. So it'll be interesting to see which those teams are and which ones are not. But yeah, let's take a look here. Here are the standings as they sit right now, and an asterisk denotes play in the playoffs. If it does not have an asterisk next to them, then they are not a playoff team at the moment. So in the Metropolitan Division, Pittsburgh is leading the way. I predicted Pittsburgh to win that division, so good start. The New York Islanders are in second place right now. They have been surprisingly good. Everyone, and myself included, thought they were done when John Tavares left. Robin Lehner's been pretty good in goal. They've gotten good scoring. Guys like Brock Nelson and Anders Lee and Jordan Eberle have really, really stepped up. Matt Barzal and Anthony Beauvillier are two great young players. The Islanders have been good so far, so it'll be interesting to see if that continues. Carolina's in third place. They've had a pretty good start to the year. Washington currently sits in fourth and out of a playoff spot. That's going to change. Columbus is in fifth. New Jersey is in sixth. Philadelphia is all the way down in seventh place. Not a good start to the year for Philly. I've talked about them a lot on this channel so far this season. Don't want to beat a dead horse, but not a good start for them, although they did win last night. And the New York Rangers are in last place, which I think is what most of us expected. Over in the Atlantic, Tampa Bay, the Lightning are leading the way. That's pretty expected. Toronto's in second and Boston's in third. That is exactly who I thought the top three would be before the season even started, and in that order. So good start for the Atlantic, and very predictable start at the top of the Atlantic. Montreal is currently in fourth place. That's a little surprising. I didn't think they'd be that good. And Buffalo's in fifth place, which is around where I thought they would be. But the real interesting thing is that Montreal and Buffalo are both in playoff spots. They're the two wild card teams from the East right now, so I did not have either of those teams being really even close to the playoffs. So the fact that they are is pretty interesting to start the year. And then Ottawa is in sixth place, Detroit's in seventh, and Florida, they've played less games, but Florida is all the way down in last place in the Atlantic. That is the team that I thought would be that is a team that I thought would be making the playoffs from the Atlantic. Currently in last place, so Florida needs to get it together. Switching to the Western Conference now in the Central Division, the best division in the NHL. Nashville leads the way on top with Colorado in second. Minnesota has jumped from fifth into third place. Winnipeg's in fourth, and Chicago is in fifth. All of those teams would be making the playoffs if the season ended today. Dallas is in sixth, and St. Louis is in last place in the Central Division. Who would have guessed that at the start of the year? So St. Louis is a team that really needs to pick it up and get it together. In the Pacific Division, San Jose leads the way. I think most of us expected that. Calgary is in second, and Vancouver's in third. Those three teams would make the playoffs. Edmonton is in 4th. Arizona is in 5th. Good, good. They're only like 500, but still good start to the year for Arizona. Anaheim's in 6th. Vegas is all the way down in 7th. And the Los Angeles Kings have had an abysmal start to the year. They're down in dead last in 8th place in the Pacific. I noticeably missing from anywhere near the top of the Pacific Division is the Vegas Golden Knights, who went to the Stanley Cup final last year. They have not had a good start to the year this year. And LA has been another big story that I've talked about a lot on this channel so far this year, much like Philadelphia. Terrible, terrible start to the season. So right now, there are a lot of surprises as far as the standings go. In the Metro, I would say New York and Carolina being so high is a surprise. Philadelphia being so low is a surprise. Florida, in the Atlantic, Florida being in last place is a huge surprise. Montreal and Buffalo being in playoff spots is surprising. In the Central Division, Chicago being in a playoff spot I think is surprising. St. Louis being in dead last is surprising. In the Pacific, Vancouver being in a playoff spot right now is extremely surprising. Arizona being as good as they are. And Vegas and LA being as bad as they are all huge surprises. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the NHL right now. And it's going to be really fun to see what continues and what changes come as the season goes on, because I do not think the standings are going to look like this at the end of the season. I think there are definitely going to be changes. Some of these teams will absolutely still be in playoff spots and in good positions, but some of them I think are going to drop out, and other teams I think are going to get better. At least they should get better. So it's going to be fun to watch and see how this changes, but even though it's early in the year, it's fun to look at the standings and look at, what is going on around the league. So basically that's where we're at right now, about a month into the season. We'll see how things shake out as the season goes along. So like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. If you'd like to further support Off the Wall Hockey, our Patreon page link is down in the description as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you guys soon.